Welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to be talking about how to deploy Defender for Endpoint on your Mac environment. So let's get into it. Defensive insights within a compressed format. So you can see we're here in Intune now, and if we go over to our devices, we can see as it propagates, we've got one Windows device, two iOS, iPad OS devices, and one macOS device. So we're going to be clicking on macOS to follow through with this one. And I'm going to show you ahead of time. I've gone and done this, and this is what it's going to look like at the end when we have completed it. So if we go to configuration, you're going to see all of these policies that are named Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. These are the ones that I'm going to go through in this video, and this is what sets us up for success in rolling out Defender for Endpoint on the macOS environment. So the main document in which we're going to be following is here, and it's provided by Microsoft, and I'll leave a link down in the description, and it talks about deploying Microsoft Defender for Endpoint on macOS with Microsoft Intune. So we're going to continue just going through this, and it may be a long video. I may jump through a few areas to say, look, follow this through, but just know this is the document that we're going to be following. So this document starts out with an overview showing all the different steps and the different configurations that we need to add in. So with the Mac environment, there's a lot of things that the sensor needs to be able to have access to and needs to have permissions to. And traditionally, Mac will have a user saying yes to these things and adding these things in. However, since we're administering it, we need to set up these policies to push to then have a seamless experience for the user that's admin driven. So we're going to start with creating our first configuration profile. So we're going to go to our Intune admin center. We're going to go to configuration. Under our macOS choice, click create, new policy. And then following with this, we want to go ahead and go to the settings catalog. So click settings catalog, go create. I'm going to name this one with an emoji first to represent this is for YouTube. And when you go MS Defender pipe, and what is this one going to be about? So this one here, if we scroll down, it's always good to name things properly. This is going to be about allowed system extensions. We can see that actually at the top here. So I'm going to go ahead and copy, here, approve system extensions. I'm going to copy that name, pipe that in there. Next, add settings. Now the area in which we are looking for within the settings is system configuration and then system extensions. So we'll go down, system configuration, system extensions. And then we want to look for allowed system extensions. We'll look allow system extensions. We can close out this pane, click edit the instance, and it's just going to be a copy and paste. So we need to copy these system extensions into here. They're both the same. Nope, sorry, they're not. And then the team identifier is the same. We add it into the bottom bar and click save. And that's the first profile done. We'll click next. If you have any scope tags, you can add them here. And then the assignments. We're going to add no assignments to these ones because, as you saw before, all the configuration profiles were created and applied. But in your case, recommend that you click all devices. This will roll out to all of the devices. If you do have a subset that you want to hone in on or you want to focus on and you don't want to roll this out to every Mac, then obviously you can add your group for the device. Then click next and create. We refresh now. We're going to see any of the ones with the TV is for this video. We've got our first one done. Now we're on to the second, network filter. So this one's going to be a little bit different. We're actually going to be downloading a custom template to then import. So the custom template is called netfilter.mobileconfig. Now, if we click on this, we can get the raw version. So what we actually want to do is we want to go ahead and click GitHub repo, find the one that we're looking for. So in this case, we are looking for network filter. So netfilter.mobileconfig, open that one up on a tab. And then we want to click this little download button here to download the raw file. And that'll go ahead and download it for you. Then what we want to do is go back to Intune, go create, new policy. We're going to go templates this time and click custom. Create, and we're going to do the same thing. Vendor, pipe, the name of this, which is going to be network filter. Click next, and then we're going to click this folder icon and go and point to the relevant area, which is under downloads, the netfilter.mobileconfig. And really, really helpful. We don't have to be too creative around our custom configuration profile names, although you can. We can just take what Microsoft has as an example. So the naming convention that they're using is the name, production, the environment, I guess the scope, and then what it is. So MDE in this case. Next, then the assignment. Again, we're not going to assign to anything since we have already created existing profiles, but this is where you would assign it. And then you review and create. So now we've got those two done. The next one follows the same thing, so I'm not going to cover it, but essentially you go and create your custom settings and import the fulldisk.mobileconfig, give it the name here, and apply it. Background services next follows the same thing, and then notifications as well. Now, the one thing to note here that Microsoft says is if you want to turn off notifications for the end users, you can actually change the show notification center from true to false, and that's available to you. Next is accessibility settings. So we're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing as we've done. So cut and paste, same as before. Then we look at our Bluetooth permissions. So this is the only one where they don't give a example name. And all you got to do if you want to keep using that naming convention is just copy this one from before in the last step and change the first to Bluetooth. That's what I did. And there's a note here that says caution, macOS 14 contains new privacy enhancements. Beginning with this version, by default, applications can't access Bluetooth without explicit consent. Microsoft Defender for Endpoint uses it if you configure Bluetooth policies for device control. So just bear in mind if you're using Sonoma, so macOS 14, that this is here for you to consider. All right, now we are on to the next step, step 8, Microsoft Auto Update. So this is going to be your auto update for Microsoft Defender for Endpoint on macOS. So we're going to be doing pretty much the same. I want to note here though that I noticed that the link doesn't actually take you directly to where you need to go. So if you click here and go to GitHub repo, it's going to take you to the profiles. Now you need to go back up to macOS, then go to your settings, then go to Microsoft Auto Update, and this one here is the one that you need. So just bear in mind that that is a little bit of a broken link, and to go up the tree until you get to settings, Microsoft Auto Update, and then download this one that is appended with mobile config. And then after that, it's exactly the same. You're going to be doing a custom settings template and uploading it and naming it. Then we get to the actual Defender configuration, and this is where things change up a bit. What we want to do is we want to make sure that our Defender is configured as we want it, and Microsoft has actually provided a policy that you can just use off the bat with recommendations. I'm going to show you that now. So we click that link here, set preferences for Microsoft Defender for Endpoint on Mac. We scroll down, takes a little while. This is where we start to get recommended configuration profiles for Defender for Endpoint for macOS. And now they've got ones for Jamf, in case you're using Jamf and need the recommended configuration profile for that. But what we're going to be focusing on is the Intune recommended profile here. So this is the recommended profile that we can copy. We want to open up a text editor. In this case, I'm just going to use Notepad. We're going to save that in there. And when we go to save as, we're going to use the naming convention that they recommend. So if I just cancel that here and scroll all the way down, I'll mention why there's more here in a minute. We want to make sure to name it this, com.microsoft.wdav. Apologies, sorry, we want to be calling it this here under the Intune and then .xml. If I grab this one, remembering that we need to be calling it the name that they recommend, save as, go to downloads, and we're going to call it com.microsoft. Windows Defender AV.xml and save that. Now, before we continue on, I want to explain why there's other policies here. These are the full configuration profiles. So if you wanted to actually go in and be more advanced in fine-tuning the controls of Defender and the profiles that you're pushing to your Mac devices, Microsoft has provided the schema, if you will, right here. So for the Jamf full configuration profile, you have it here, and you can edit what you need to within the right format for XML. And then here's the Intune version where you can do the same, but not Jamf. Now that we've got that out of the way, we've saved our config out as an XML file. We're going to go back to Intune. We're going to go create a new policy. We're going to click templates like we have before, custom, create. We're going to name it what we need to give it some context. Always use emojis, they are fun. Microsoft Defender, pipe. In this case, we are looking at Defender for actually, what we'll call this is the macOS configuration default. Now you can name it what you want. This is what I've named it. Click next, then we're going to upload that XML file. And then for the name, if we go back, Microsoft has a recommended name, which is going to be the com.microsoft.windows defender antivirus.xml. But we're going to actually get rid of the XML on this name. So we're just going to do Windows Defender Antivirus. And then we can assign it as needed. I'm not going to assign it again. And create. So now that we have those policies in place, we want to continue on and we want to enable network protection. Now this is worthwhile watching this video to understand, because the steps in which Microsoft show you is using the security portal or the Defender portal. However, I want to show you how to use it in Intune, because it can be done all in Intune. So we go to Intune, create a new policy. This time we're going to be choosing a settings catalog, create, and we're going to follow the same naming convention as we have so far. MS Defender, pipe. This is network protection. And we're going to be looking for the same area replicated over in Intune. So we are looking under network protection for the enforcement level. So if we go here, click add settings, scroll down until we find Defender first, then network protection, and then enforcement level. So just to go over that again, we're looking for Microsoft Defender, expand that, go to network protection, then enforcement level. Now you have some options here. They're recommending either audit or block. With audit, you're obviously going to get an audit of what's happening. With block, you're going to exclusively block things that are deemed as not malicious or being tagged within that same vein. So I recommend set that to block, as we want to have zero trust and least privilege and employ best security practice. Then click next, add your scope tags if you need to, and your assignments to the relevant devices, and create. Now next is device control. Now if you want to get more granular in your security and control what the user can do on the device, device control is where you need to do that. In this video we're not going to go over this, but just know that this is an availability to you. Following in that same vein is data loss prevention. That's something that you can go and check as well. Then it's going to ask you if you want to check the status of the .mobile config settings to make sure you review the status of the policies, view the status. Once Intune changes are propagated to the enrolled devices, you can see them listed under monitor device status. So if we wanted to do that, that would be in Intune under monitor, and we have a few options of reports that we could do here. The one they're talking about is device actions, and that can be done in your environment. Next is to get the client device set up. So if you haven't done this already, go and watch my prior video about enrolling Apple devices. And now we get to sort of the tail end of this, which is getting a little bit fun, close to rolling out this Defender to the macOS and actually having that pay off. So going back to Intune, we want to actually roll out Defender. So if we go to our apps, and then go all apps, and then click create. Then we want to click on the drop down for app type, and underneath Microsoft Defender for Endpoint, we'll click macOS, select. That's going to pre-populate everything. You can change settings as needed. Click next. Set the assignment for the devices you need. Click next and create. After creating, that's going to roll out that application to install on your Mac assigned devices, but it's not going to be enough to just stop there. We need to continue on. So the last thing that we need to really consider doing, and maybe this is something that you may have overlooked and you may be getting an error that your organization doesn't have the relevant license, is to actually download the onboarding package. And that's done in a roundabout way. So first, what we need to do is go to our security admin portal. Then we need to scroll down and go to settings. In our settings, click endpoints. Scroll down to device management and onboarding, and then select the operating system for macOS. We'll leave this as streamlined. The deployment method as MDM/Microsoft Intune. And what we want to go ahead and do is click this download onboarding package. So we're going to download that. And we're going to open that folder. And then we're going to unzip this, extracting it in its location. And you get these two folders. So now what we want to do is push this onboarding package to the devices to correctly connect them to Defender. So going into Intune, we're going to go back to our macOS devices and configuration. Click Create, New Policy, select Template, select Custom, Create. We're going to name this the same naming convention that we've been using, with a pipe, and we're going to call this Mac OS onboarding package. Click Next, and we're going to click the folder. We're going to go into the extracted zip folder, choose a relevant one that you need to for deployment, so Intune here. And then we actually want to click on, I know it seems counterintuitive, but the Windows Defender ATP onboarding.xml. Don't be confused by the name, it will work. You can see here, this is what Microsoft is explaining that I've just gone through. And we're up to this piece here. And this is the name that Microsoft has as an example. So we're going to copy that for our name. We're going to paste that in, click Next. Set the assignment for the devices that you need and create, and that will roll that out. And you can see that once we are at the end, all that we have left to do is verify that it is all working. And I think the best way to verify is to go and check on the device. So the way in which I do that is I use my choice RMM, which is level.io. Shout out to Level. Once in Level, I want to go and remote into my Mac device here. So I'm going to go and click to remote in. So I've remoted in now. And if I click the little Defender icon up here, I can even click no action needed or open Defender. I can see by the tick that it's working. However, I'll open it anyway. And I can see here that everything is working. There's no errors that are coming up. And I know that it is running in the enterprise version because if I click on the Defender area, you can see switch to personal. So this is running in the business setting and is working and deployed, which is amazing. We're there. We did it. It wasn't that hard, and it's amazing how simple it can be using Intune. So at the end, you'll see something akin to all of the policies that will load on my screen in a minute. So in the end, you're going to see all of these configuration profiles set up with their relevant config for different areas. So background settings, this is the onboarding, auto update, notifications, recommended security configuration, accessibility settings, approved system extensions, Bluetooth, full disk access, network filter, and network protection. But once you've done that, you have successfully rolled out Defender. Congratulations, you followed this and you now have Defender rolled out. Let's hope that we're getting more secure each day and we are not leaving Macs outside of the environment in which we are administering. So I hope that this video has helped in some way. Please leave a comment and let me know what you'd like to see explained more, if you have any questions, if you have any feedback, any of those things. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.